Welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small,
Hey there, and welcome to episode 94 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. I have an episode that's epic for you today, and I mean epic. So if you're a first-time listener, then hey, welcome. This is an awesome episode for you to hear for the first time. And of course, if you are an every week listener, then welcome back to you too, of course. I sincerely appreciate you making me one of your choices with your podcasting listening for the week. I am, of course, the host, Jen Donovan, and it's my job via this podcast, social media, and just about everywhere else that I hang out to make your business life simpler. I'm a thought leader when it comes to marketing here in Australia and a marketing strategist for small businesses. Why? Well, because I am a small business and I've been in small business for a very long time, and I know that it can be lonely and hard and complicated and it's rarely easy, but it should be simple, or at least simpler. So that is my commitment to you on the so named Small Business Made Simple podcast. This episode is sponsored by Spend With Us, www.spendwithus.com.au, which is an online marketplace for rural and regional businesses. So if you're already thinking about your Christmas shopping or just want to support rural and regional small businesses, then head to Spend With Us. The 500 plus businesses that are on the platform have really done it tough. They've suffered through prolonged drought, last summer's bushfires, and now COVID. And I know that they would really appreciate any support that you can give them. Spend With Us also has site-wide gift vouchers, which means you can give a gift voucher and they can spend their money in whatever store they want. Of course, corporates and bulk orders are more than welcome and can be personalised for free. So if you're already thinking Christmas shopping or just need that special gift, then head to spendwithus.com.au. And it's pretty fitting that Spend With Us, who does help rural and regional businesses, are the sponsor for this podcast, because this podcast is pretty epic, if I do say so myself. I have lots of guests on. Yep, lots of guests. You see, if you're listening to this when the episode drops, which is Thursday, the 15th of October, then you may or may not know that it's International Rural Women's Day. So, happy International Rural Women's Day to you. I had grand plans of doing amazing things on this day because I'm a rural woman, as most of you will know. But, of course, then the C thing happened. COVID, let's not talk about it. So you are listening to my plan B. As a rural woman, gosh, why can't I say that properly? As a rural woman, I simply couldn't have let the day go without celebrating it somehow. So I've decided that having my podcast feature lots of amazing kick-ass rural business women was the way to go. So this podcast is about them, the rural women in Australia who are paving the way for their children, paving the way for their peers, and embracing the lifestyle that living and working in rural Australia has. You will hear themes of community from almost all the women you're about to hear from on this podcast. And it's that exact community that has brought them here to this particular episode of the podcast. Some of these women are old friends. Some of these women are new friends. Some are people that I've had on my podcast before. Some have other podcasts and I've been on their podcast. Some market alongside me and some are in totally different market spaces to me, but collectively they are all from my tribe, because I'm such a firm believer in that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. And well, today I've surrounded myself with some amazing businesswomen, all who I admire more than they'll probably ever know. Each of the women you're about to hear from were generous enough to give me up to 90 seconds of a voice message to answer the question, what does living and working in rural Australia mean to you? So again, although varied replies, community has this overarching theme in just about all of them. So I'm just going to let them take over the podcast now. I hope you enjoy hearing from these amazing, trailblazing, super awesome rural women that I call part of my tribe and I'm really lucky enough to call my friends. So here they are.
Hello, hello. It's Jen Waterson here. Thank you so much, Jen, for having me here today. I'm really excited to be here chatting to you all. I'm from Kerrang in Northern Victoria. My business is Simply Smarter Numbers, and I'm a business consultant helping business owners make more profit and take back their time. You can look me up on Instagram or listen to my podcast, all self-titled Simply Smarter Numbers. So the population of Kerrang is less than 4,000 people. So yes, I'm a rural girl. And I've worked as a CPA in Kerrang for about 20 years. I'm not a tax accountant these days, but it was my time working as an accountant with business owners that really gave me a chance to see firsthand how important it is that locals support local businesses. It's especially relevant and obvious in these COVID days where we're not traveling to the city to shop, we're spending our money locally. And when our businesses are making more money, our local business owners are investing back into their business. They're supporting other businesses and they're employing our kids. Intellectually, we all know that spending locally benefits everyone, but this is just your little reminder. I love that my business actually brings in money from outside of the town, and I have clients all over Australia, and I make a really big effort to spend my money locally. So that's my message to you. Next time you're tempted to travel outside your local area to buy a lounge suite, a TV, a car, anything, call your local first. Have a chat with them. They'd love to help you out. Bye.
I'm Ange, founder of Country Allure, an Australian women's brand that specialises in hair on hide bags, decor and accessories. Based in the outback town of Blackwater, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. I love my work and I love my rural community. I love that my team are all local and that I can offer employment in our region that would otherwise not exist. Off the beaten track is where you'll find some of the most authentic people and connections. The sunsets are to die for and the uninterrupted horizons give you a feeling of home, something that cannot be imitated. Running a business in a rural town can sometimes be lonely and overwhelming. There are a lot of hurdles that need to be jumped, more so than our city sisters, but it's not impossible. I love the challenge and wouldn't have it any other way. There are so many hidden gems outside the city lights and so many incredible businesses to get behind. I would love you to follow our journey, so make sure to find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or head to the website, countryallure.com. And, of course, happy International Rural Women's Day to all the incredible, bold, hardworking, strong, inspiring, and powerful women at the backbone of our rural communities.
My name's Catherine Mann. I'm the founder of Wild Dynamics and the podcast host of Community Heroes. I've always grown up living in regional Victoria, so I'm not quite sure what it really feels like to live in the city, but I can tell you what I love about living in the country. I love the air. I love being able to enjoy the sunshine, walk down the street and smile at people, and whether they know me or not, know that they're going to greet me with the same respect. I love that I can work with people all over the globe, even from my office in regional Victoria. I don't need to be within a city to be able to achieve these goals anymore, and I feel so blessed to be able to do that. I can work with, impact, support, as well as be influenced and admire people from all over Australia as well as the world. And that, to me, is the biggest benefit that we have within our world right now, and the way that we can be connected on such a bigger, broader scale. I think it's a blessing to be a rural woman. I think we have the grit and determination to go after what we want and be able to dream bigger than what we ever could before.
My name is Sarah Britz, and I'm a freelance web designer and developer, as well as the co-founder of Spend With Us, Buy From a Bush Business, an online marketplace supporting rural and regional small businesses. You can find me on Facebook as Sarah Britz, Digital Designer. Working with rural communities is something I am so lucky to be able to do every day in my job. Helping rural Australians to grow their businesses, get online and sell their products or services all across Australia. Rural Australians have gone through so much the last year. First drought, then bushfires, flooding and coronavirus. They have such a strong resilience to keep going, and the strength of their community spirit is astounding and something I am so proud to be associated with and part of. We moved out of the city for a tree change over 5 years ago, and it was the best thing I've ever done for my family. I love living and working, being surrounded by nature and truly experiencing the raw and real beauty of our country and its people.
Happy Independence Day. My name's Lee Longmire and I live and work in rural Australia. I have a small business called The Organiser and More, and I look after social media and content creation and virtual admin for other business owners so that they can concentrate on their small business. One of the things that sort of strikes me with living and working in rural and regional Australia is the sense of community that you have from the small towns that are around here. And I was one of those kids that grew up thinking, oh, I'm never going to go and live in the country. I'm going to go into the city. I was from a little town called Corowa on the Murray River, and I really wanted to get out, stretch my wings, and hopefully that meant travelling and living in New York or somewhere exciting and flash like that. But I ended up meeting and marrying a farmer, and we now have our farm located on beautiful Wiradjuri country near Narrandera in New South Wales. And one of the things that I think is really striking at the moment, especially what COVID has rammed home, is how lucky I am to live where I do, and that we have this beautiful land that we're on, that we live in such a wonderful community. Our little locality community called Sandigo is just amazing, and the town that we live near, Narrandera, is a pretty special place as well. So I just think that living and working here is just something we are so lucky to get to do.
I'm Mel Milgate, Director of Starfish Marketing and great at marketing stuff. You can follow us on Instagram at starfishmarketing1. What it means to work and live in rural Australia. For me, it's the incredible sense of community and the ability to really make a difference in people's lives. I work predominantly with small businesses, and I know that when small business is successful, our broader community is successful. And you really see that in rural Australia. The smallest action can have the most amazingly positive ripple effect, and that's because of the connections that are made across our communities, even ones across vast distances. It's all about community, connection to succeed together, and that's what living in rural Australia means to me.
Hi, I'm Melissa Dickfoss from Regional Raw Digital Marketing based in Toowoomba in rural Queensland. I absolutely love being a rural business owner, and I help clients with a range of digital marketing and copywriting and websites and that sort of thing. And I think living rurally, you really get to connect with your customers and your clients in a way that you probably don't get to do in the city. You really get to understand more about them and what they're doing in their daily lives. And I think those communities that offer that support tend to be found in regional and rural places, and that's really something quite special. And I think that then extends into what we experience in our personal daily lives. Having those deeper connections is fabulous for not only us as women, but also for our children and our families. And, for me, I've tried living in the city and it really wasn't for me. And quite quickly I thought, I am just a country girl, and the slow-paced lifestyle, it can still be busy, but it's not quite like the city. And I think there's something really special about living in rural Australia. And there are so many amazing women out there doing fabulous things. And I think, let's celebrate it on International Rural Women's Day.
And just to finish, What about mine? What does it mean to me to live and work in rural Australia? Well, I have to agree with them all. Community. I can't go past community. I sent out a message a few days ago to colleagues and friends saying, hey, could you help me celebrate International Rural Women's Day and send me a soundbite? And as you heard, many of them said yes because of community. I know some amazing women who work and live in the cities, and they are brilliant at what they do. But there's something about having rural in common with other business owners that kind of almost collectively sews you together. It's like you straight away have a friend because they know, they get you, they know what it's like living in rural Australia. For those of you on my email list, you will know that this has taken me a little while to embrace in my life, to embrace the fact that I live on a farm, to embrace the fact that I do this amazing marketing and social media business all from a rural place. Of course, there are ups and downs and rounds when it comes to living rurally, but going through hardships like tragedies such as drought and bushfires and floods have really banded communities together for years. And I think that people who live in cities and suburbs, I think you're getting a taste of what that looks like because COVID-19 has affected everybody in your city or everybody in your suburb. And I think it's a way of really binding people together with something in common. Even though the something in common is not good, I think it brings out the great things in humanity. And I think that's what the rural and country, the small towns and communities have done so well for so many years. For me, right now, it's what I call widow season. It's hay season and it's harvest on the farm. It's the time when all farmers' wives know not to expect their hubby for dinner, breakfast, lunch, or really at all, except for when they are home. There is no telling when they might just walk through that door. And again, I think it's like a secret club. You know, you see another farmer's wife and you just give that head nod test. I know what you're going through. It'll pass. It'll be okay. Let me know if I can help with the kids, with the meals, with lunches, whatever you need. It's that community that binds us together. So that's it, my people. Let's raise a glass to all the rural women that you know in your life, in the world, who you love because of what they do, and of course, welcome others into the community as well. So raise your glass. Cheers to that. Now, before I finish, I do just want to sidestep a little bit and tell you about SpeakPipe. So it's a really cool piece of software that I actually use to have all these amazing women send me their voice recordings. So if this is something that you think would be really good for your business, then look up speakpipe.com. It's free, it's easy. It literally took me 20 seconds to make up, gives you a link and you send out to people. And then, of course, they send the recording back to SpeakPipe and then you just download it onto your computer and you can sew them together like I have. It's really quite easy. It's not tech hard. And of course, I've really loved using it for my podcast. So if that's something that interests you, I used speakpipe.com. But anyway, thanks for listening. If you don't live in rural Australia, then maybe raise a glass to the women in business that you know, rural or not. Or you know what? Just raise a glass to small business because small business has been tough this year. So maybe that's what you can celebrate if you don't know anyone who lives in rural and regional Australia. So thanks so much, ladies, for joining me on the podcast. All the amazing ladies who sent me sound bites. So much gratitude to you coming out. I really appreciate you taking that effort and helping my audience know, of course, a little bit more of what it's like to live in rural and regional Australia. Of course, I will be back next Thursday and we'll be back to business as usual. If you're enjoying this podcast, then hey, I'd really love if you hit the subscribe button and maybe leave me a rating or review if you have time. Or of course, share this with another superstar business owner who's doing that daily grind, who would really appreciate someone making their business life simpler. And maybe if you know someone that lives in rural and regional Australia, send it to them. Tell them to raise a glass for International Rural Women's Day. Of course, I'll see you back here for episode 95. But in the meantime, let's hang out and get social on social. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, and of course on LinkedIn. But whatever you do, my small business peeps, remember, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are.